the heck is a runza? A delicious sandwich you've never heard of. Okay guys, have you ever heard of a runza sandwich? If you aren't from Nebraska or Kansas, you're probably staring blankly at the screen right now. But don't worry, your life is about to change. And by the end of this video, you'll be raring to go on a runza run. So what the heck is a runza? I know that any Nebraskan watching this is waving their arms in the air, always ready to speak on this topic. But for those of you who aren't in the know, a runza is a delicious, meat-filled sandwich, mainly found in Nebraska and a few other Midwestern states. And in today's video, we'll enlighten you on the glory of this fascinating creation, this strange yet incredible sandwich, which undoubtedly has a cult following. So hang on tight, because we're headed to the Cornhusker state. Make sure to stay until the end to see which celebrity chef would like to purchase the rights to the runza. It may surprise you. What is a runza? So let's start by defining what a runza is. A runza is a kind of sandwich, a kind of calzone, but not really like either. A runza is its own thing. It falls in its own category. It's a freshly baked bread pocket, typically filled with beef and cabbage and baked to a perfect golden brown. It can be in a roll shape or a rectangular shape, depending on where you're buying it. And this sandwich has taken Nebraska by storm. It even has its own restaurant, fittingly called Runza, with 86 locations as of 2020. 8 of these locations are in Nebraska, 2 are in Iowa, 2 are in Kansas, and 2 are in Colorado. So how did we get here? Where did all this begin? To answer that, we need to go back to the time of Catherine the Great. Yeah, that's right. And if you haven't streamed the Helen Mirren series yet on HBO or Hulu's The Great, then we'll get you up to speed. Catherine was a German princess who married a Russian heir to the throne, Peter the Great, in the 1700s. After a palace coup, Catherine ended up as the Empress of Russia for the next 34 years. Eager to strengthen her fan base, Catherine lured German settlers into Russia with the promise of free land and religious freedom, and let them settle in an area along the Volga River, about 1,000 miles southeast of Moscow. Here, the Volga Germans combined both Russian and German languages, traditions, and food, adapting the Russian pirog sandwich on their own, which they call a birog or runza. In the late 1800s, a large number of Volga Germans moved to the American Midwest, and they brought with them their delicious meat-filled pastries. And in 1949, the very first runza restaurant opened in Lincoln, Nebraska. The first runzas were made with meat and sauerkraut, or meat and cabbage, and were a huge hit. Workers, particularly in the trades, could fill up on these meaty sandwiches quickly and without making a mess. Fast forward over 70 years later, and runzas are now a beloved food tradition, a favorite late-night snack for the inebriated, and the perfect quick lunch or dinner on the go. Now we'll be diving deeper into the beloved Runza franchise. But before we do, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. The Runza franchise. A woman named Sally Everett opened up the first Runza restaurant in 1949, and franchising began under Sally's son Donald in 1979. These franchises took off quickly. The chain is still owned by the Everett family, who continues to expand. In fact, if you live in Yankton, South Dakota or Glenwood, Iowa, you're in luck. There are new Runza locations set to open in these towns. So if you don't yet have a Runza near you, don't fret. With the way this chain is expanding, you may have one in your town before you know it. The classic Runza sandwich is ground beef, sautéed with spices and onions, then mixed with cabbage. Then it's wrapped in freshly baked bread. The Runza restaurant has created several delicious variations of the Runza sandwich. They've added cheese into it, which helps the meat mixture stay together and obviously adds delicious flavor. You can never go wrong with cheese. They also have an Italian Runza, which includes Italian sausage, mozzarella, olives, and mushrooms, topped with a savory tomato sauce. The Spicy Jack Runza includes bacon and jalapeno peppers, and the Southwest Runza includes salsa, tortilla strips, ranch, and taco seasoning. Another favorite is the Barbecue Bacon Runza, made with barbecue sauce, bacon, and Swiss cheese. Yum! I'm starting to get hungry. Runza restaurants also specialize in other classic Midwestern fare, such as chili, fries, and burgers. And their side items? Well, they don't call them sides. Per their website, they call them other delicious things you can have with the main delicious thing you ordered. Only at Runza can you try frings, which are a combination of fries and onion rings. These are perfect for when you can't decide between the two. Just have both. Runza at the Nebraska Union. Runzas have become so incredibly popular that a massive controversy broke out at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in 2018. A Runza chain had been operating in the campus union since 2008. College students looking for a quick bite between classes loved their runzas, which could easily be eaten while walking. Plus, for students from Nebraska or neighboring states, runzas offered a nostalgic taste of home. In 2008, the Runza location was ousted when two fast food giants, Chick-fil-A and Steak 'n Shake, bid together for that hot location in the Union. Students were in an uproar about this, others in tears. The Runza made the Nebraska Union feel Nebraska-y. Now their union is just filled with the same chain restaurants that you can find at any college union across the United States. The president of Runza, Donald Everett Jr., was very unhappy with the situation. He published a letter in the Daily Nebraskan stating that the bidding process was unclear and that Runza also contributes to the university more than what it brings in through the union franchise. Everett thought this should have been taken into consideration in addition to the amount of the bid. "We agree with you, Donald Everett Jr. This was a true abomination. And while Chick-fil-A and Steak 'n Shake do have some good food, they'll never be able to replace the local flavor of a Runza." Pop culture references. The Runza has become so mainstream in Nebraska that it's no surprise to see many cultural references to the popular sandwich. There's a Runza vendor in Memorial Stadium, home to the Cornhuskers football team. Thousands of Runza sandwiches are sold at every football game, with a side of fries, or onion rings, or frings. A few years ago, the Omaha Storm Chasers baseball team temporarily rebranded themselves as the Omaha Runzas, and their uniform had a cartoon Runza sandwich printed on them. How adorable. On February 2nd, 2022, the Runza restaurant was taken to new levels of fame when celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay showed up for a Temperature Tuesday promotion. On Temperature Tuesday at 6 a.m., they gave away Runzas in cents, equivalent to the temperature outside. So on a bitter cold February morning in Nebraska, if it's 0 or less outside, then you'll be getting your Runza fix free of charge. Ramsay was quoted saying, "Now normally I don't bother with the Yankee-danky shite you filthy Americans have the audacity to call food, but this is something different. Most fast food makes a mess on par with a dirty bomb, but the enclosed and handheld nature of a Runza makes that a thing of the past. Quite frankly, I love it." Ramsay then called Donald Jr., the president of Runza, asking to buy the rights to sell the sandwiches in his own chain. We're not clear what came of this, but we'll be on the lookout. How to make it yourself. Home chefs, this section is for you. If you've never tried to make a Runza before, you may be surprised at how simple it really is. Even a kitchen novice can follow along and make this delicious sandwich. First, you'll want to saute your meat, usually ground beef, and add onions until translucent. While it's cooking, you can prepare your dough. It's a combination of flour, sugar, yeast, and salt. Heat milk, water, and butter, and add the dry ingredients. Add in eggs and knead, then let it rest and rise for at least an hour. While the dough is rising, you can finish off your meat mixture. Add finely chopped cabbage, salt, and pepper, as well as any other seasonings you may want. You can get creative with this. Keep stirring until the cabbage is cooked. Next, roll out your dough and cut into 12 equal pieces, usually in a rectangular shape. Spoon the filling into the middle. You can choose to add cheese, it's up to you. Then roll the dough to close the filling and pinch it shut. Bake at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes, and voila, you are officially a Runza maker. One thing's for sure, no matter how you make or take your Runza, you are going to love it. How do you like your Runza? Classic or with cheese? Tell us in the comments below. And make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.